Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. What we just had was a two-tournament weekend, and we are going to go over the 178, 79, something crazy like that player Snap Fan Open. That is an open deck list, humongous tournament, and it was won by the best player in the game. We say that he's the best player in the game all the time. That player is Lamby. I'm just going to tell you straight up. We talked about 90% of this deck last week. The deck we're talking about is a deck that we covered last week. The second place deck is a deck we covered yesterday. So we're going to get that out of the way right off the bat for you. I told you a move meta was coming a week ago. I tell you all the time on this channel that my goal is to keep you ahead of the meta, to get you decks faster than anyone else so that you can be ahead of the meta, so that you can play important things before other people know about them, and then you can take advantage of it to gain more cubes, to hit infinite, to get those infinity borders and reach your goals in Marvel Snap. Well, this tournament is an excellent example of exactly what I was talking about. We got through this deck last week. It's winning tournaments now. Move is all over this meta. It's all over the tournament. I've had a million Thanos texts lately. I'm telling you, Thanos is good. Thanos is all over yesterday and today's meta. We're going to talk about that, but I'm going to urge you to please sub. I'm doing my very best here to make sure I can help you with Marvel Snap in every way possible. One of the ways we're doing so is I've got tips from players like Lamby. Lots of competitive players have been collecting tips, and we're releasing a YouTube short every other day, 7 days a week. That is all about a tip. We're calling them Marvel Snap Pro Tips, and there will be a tip on how to improve your Marvel Snap gameplay. That's in addition to all the decks. That's in addition to the biggest giveaway in Snap. You're getting at least 2 unique decks every single weekday. There is no downside. Subbing is free. It helps us out. Liking and commenting helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Totally free. We're going to do our best to help you. We'd appreciate if you're willing, if you could help us. Thanks. Let's talk about the Lamby deck first. I decided to name it Lamby is Broken. People are calling it Silky Smooth. Some people, my favorite title is Lamby's Confusion, because when I first watched him play the deck on stream, he was the most confused person in the world. It was absolutely hilarious. But he just went undefeated in the Snap Fan Open with this deck. We talked about it last week. It was one card different. It was running a Hulk Buster, a Hulk Buster instead of Vision. That's the only change in the deck. Otherwise, the deck is actually the same. I understand the change to Vision for 2 very simple reasons. One, Shang-Chi is in like 80% of decks at this point. We'll actually look at the exact number Shang-Chi is when we get to the tournament stats a little later on this video. But Shang-Chi is in every deck, and what Hulkbuster was doing was giving your opponent a clear Shang-Chi target. Well, now there is no Shang-Chi target. You can grow Angela to 8, and everything else is a reasonable number of power that is lower. You can control the board, you can control locations, you have unpredictability, you have last minute move. This deck has it all. America Chavez is here, because America Chavez is in like every Lamby. He's like the ultimate Lamby fan. He's going to play Dara in an America Chavez or no America Chavez streaming thing coming up soon. We'll talk more about that as we get closer. But the idea is that you want to get Kitty and Angela down, right? That's just a very powerful combo, and if you can get Kitty to about a 1-5-1-6 is your goal. About a 1-5-1-6 to play at the end of the game, that's a really, really powerful card. Because if you're playing a 1-5 with a Legion, that's a 13 power card. That's bigger than almost every powerful 6-drop in the game, and you get the lovely ability of a card like Legion Edition. Other things this deck can do. You've got Kraven, and you've got all these ways to boost Kraven. You can play Kraven, you can move Jeff to that location. At the end of the game, Captain Marvel, if Kraven has a free spot and that's the closest spot, becomes 7 power because Captain Marvel will calculate that Kraven boost. Silk will hit Kraven multiple times. Silk is the secret sauce to this deck. You don't, I don't think, need Legion, and you don't need Jeff to make it work, but you are going to need Silk. We will talk about that again momentarily. Spider-Man is an extra move. Also, all these cards go on Angela and grow Angela, and then can move over to Kraven for extra power on that card. It's such amazing tempo. It works out amazingly. All right. Then around turn 4 or turn 5, if you have a Legion win, obviously play your Legion win. If you have to play a Vision, play a Vision. So turn 3, you can go Miles Morales and Spider-Man, for example, and turn 5, you can go Captain Marvel or Shang-Chi and Spider-Man. Sorry, Miles Morales, Spider-Man. So those are just extra plays. Then turn 6, if you just need stats and you know they're not running, um, a Shang, then America is fine. But is literally less power than a just top deck Kitty and Vision or Legion. And if you can get Vision down early on turn 5, you get that extra move for an extra Craven bump, that extra move for an extra Angela bump. These are incredible combos. This is like so good into unreachable locations. It's so hard to play a card that's all over the meta like Professor X against this because it's like impossible to predict how much power is going everywhere. Basically, Jeff and Shang are the only low-powered cards in the deck. Angela almost always ends up a 6, 8, 10 power card. Kitty ends up a 4 or 5 power card. Craven ends up an 8, 10 power card. Silk is 5 naturally. Spider-Man is 5 naturally. Miles is 5 naturally. Captain Marvel is 5. It's just so much power. And Jeff is just extra versatility and move. So everything works super well together. And while Shang is only 3 power, you're only ever playing Shang if he's taking something else off the board of at least 9 power, right? So that makes Shang like the equivalent of at least a 412 when played, assuming you're playing him well. Everything synergizes. This deck is a thing of beauty. It's brilliant. You need to try it. And you're going, but I don't have Silk. I can't try it. You are, as of you watching this video, 8 days away from Silk being in Spotlight caches. I hope you've been hoarding. I've been begging you on this channel to hoard and wait for the right time. This is why you hoard and wait. Next week's Spotlight caches have X23, who is likely to be one of the best cards of the season, if not the best, and Silk, who is now a meta must-have. So you'll have both of those, and if you've been saving Spotlight caches, great. It might be worth looking into Stegron, that Stegron bundle, which is going out of the shop like real soon, is very expensive gold-wise, right? But you're getting your value back in just progression. You get a Series 4 card, and those credits will help you get Silk. So Stegron was in yesterday's tournament-winning Thanos list. Make sure you check that video from yesterday, from the Marvel Snap Battle Arena tournament. Today, we had the Snap Fan Open. Silk is in the list. Both of these cards are hard to find and rare cards. This is how you arrange to have them. Now, if I didn't have Jeff and Legion, I'm going to tell you straight up, I would try and run Black Bolt and Stature. If you don't have Legion, but you do have Jeff, you can run Era in that Legion spot. You can also conceivably just go back and run the Hulkbuster. If you don't have Jeff, Nightcrawler also does much of the job in this particular deck. This isn't a deck that's playing Lockdown where Jeff is like exponentially better than Nightcrawler. It's just better than Nightcrawler. So a Nightcrawler will do 60-70% of the job of Jeff in most games. And Legion, while Legion is a phenomenal card in like winning high roll games and like stomping your opponent when they don't think it's coming, Arrow is great. Black Bolt and Stature are great. There's a lot of options there. Hulkbuster will do, again, a reasonable job of interacting with the opponent's board. Interacting with your board to give you enough power to beat the opponent's board toward the end of the game. This is sick. Lamby is busted. He wins all the time. It's just the best player in the game. I don't think there's like a really strong argument for anyone else at this point. At least not one based on like actual success. All right. The Human Spider, again, finished in second place. I didn't have to rename this. Human Spider is the new Browday / D-Money, but you'll note that both Browday and D-Money, after they finished second place a couple of times, won tournaments. I have very little doubt the Human Spider is coming. We got a freaking ton of new Thanos builds this weekend. If I were on ladder and I wanted to climb, this is the one to take. It's the simplest to play and likely the strongest. Its basic goal is to cheat out a 5-cost card to be a basic goal is to dump some stuff in Lockjaw and get really powerful things for cheap, right? It can also cheat out 2 5-cost cards using cards like Wave and the Time Stone to get out a early Devil Dino, Magneto, Death, Thanos, etc. It's got Killmonger to kill out some of your opponent's stuff and a bunch of stones for a nice, cheap, easy to play death. It's got ways to play extra into Lockjaw between the Space Stone, the Killmonger, the Spider-Man, who if it pops out will roll away, and the Vision, who if it pops out you can choose to move. It's as Shang proof as most Thanos decks get. Um, it's got like a million clear snap conditions. You have Lockjaw and a couple stones, snap. You have Lockjaw and Wasp, snap. Do you is your opponent playing discard? You've got Spider Ham, snap. Um, do you see your Mind Stone right off the bat, snap? Do you have Killmonger and a Death with a stone or two, snap? Right, like there's a ton of ways to get a ton of power on the board. The only anti-synergy in the deck really is Shang and Lockjaw, and there's nothing you can really do about that. It's worth running Shang because it's such a good power card, but you don't really want your Shang to come out of Lockjaw early. There's nothing you can do about that. It's the only real low roll, though. Almost everything else synergizes. This deck, obviously, like any deck that's expensive, can hit bet draw. You can just draw Death, Magneto, Thanos, and Vision early. Just be like, what do I do? But the odds of that happening are not high, and you're much more likely to see the stones. You have 6 of them, right? And if you see stones, that draws you into more good things, more powerful things. This deck is super strong. People are gonna sleep on this deck because it came in second place both times. I don't understand why that happens. Second place in 2 tournaments to me is every bit as impressive as first place in 1, maybe even more so. That is both phenomenal piloting, a phenomenal deck, and phenomenal. I mean, just like it's great. It's super impressive to be that consistent. So, like, viewers, I urge you, please, 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 try this deck out. All right, let's catch our breaths. If you found that interesting, if you like this, we do this almost every tournament. The next Snap Battle Arena is actually August 26th. That's the day of my birthday, which would still be fine. I would still do the video, but I'll be in London, and so I won't be able to provide this breakdown. But basically, every other time, if you like this kind of analysis of winning decks, you'll find it here. So hit that sub button, please. Let's talk stats. I want to start today with decklist stats because I think it is fascinating. For the second day in a row, the most played deck was Darkhawk Good Stuff. It was, however, 25% of the meta, and that fell down to 16% of the meta. Despite that, it still had the same number of top 8 appearances as the day before. It was 3 the day before, it is 3 today. The deck is great. Darkhawk Good Stuff is one of the best decks in the game. I've been yelling like a crazy person in all my videos for the last week that Move is going to be meta. Move is incredible. People need to start taking these new Move decks seriously. A Move Thanos won yesterday's tournament. Now we have a standard Move. 15 people brought it. It was the second most brought deck. And it had a higher win rate than Darkhawk Good Stuff. 59% is humongous. And even with that higher win rate, 2 people still made the cut. So, like, it's super impressive. Move is legit. Move is one of the top 3 decks in the game. The third of the top 3 is Thanos. Now, I don't know what the best version of Thanos is, and I don't think that's really possible to know. The only Thanos that made the cut in this tournament were Thanos Lockjaw. 2 people, it had a 53% win rate, respectable, and 2 top 8 appearances. It seems like Thanos Control is not the way to go. It had a very low win rate. 43% is an unacceptably low win rate. 13 people brought it, 0 top 8 appearances. It's worth noting that there was 1 in the cut yesterday of Thanos Control and 1 right outside the cut. So I don't think the deck is dead. I think it's just a little bit worse than the other versions. And Thanos Move, after winning yesterday's tournament, didn't have a big win rate, but I'm gonna just straight up say that's not surprising. The winner of yesterday's tournament brought Thanos Move again. We're gonna check out his record when we get to that portion of our review. But for now, what you need to know is that people were playing a deck that they just found the day before. So I would not expect them to do well with this given situation. We had a Surfer, which was reasonable. Sarah Miracle got destroyed. What's really impressive is Sauron had a 62% win rate. It seems like there's a new Sauron build that doesn't run Shuri that's doing really well. We're going to have to take a closer look at that as we go. And then nothing else was like seen enough to really super have relevant data, right? Stop playing Brep. It's not good in the meta right now. I don't know. Nothing else to really add. Anything else that's high is good. Before we take a look at the actual deck list, let's do our card frequency breakdown. We need to know what's in the meta, how it's doing. Also, I love that 4 people brought pull 1 and 2 decks. Didn't really have a shot, but it's cool that it happened. Okay. The most played card, as always, is Shang-Chi. We had 109 Shang-Chis with a 64% play rate, but only a 50% win rate. I don't think Shang is especially good in the meta. I understand why he's there. I understand why you bring him to a tournament. I think the Darkhawk decks only have one target, and Enchantress is better for them. And the move decks don't have any targets. And the Thanos decks have limited or hard to find targets. I don't think it's great. Jeff was, as again, the second most played card, but its win rate was significantly lower today. It's been living in the 58-59% win rates. I'm a little surprised to see it fall. Iron Lad is actually about, like, it's pretty close to Iron Lad today, which it's usually not. It's Iron Lad's usually significantly lower. We had Killmonger. We're now going to start looking. Enchantress is again super highly played, but a lower win rate. This just might not be a tech card meta. We had more move and more non-control Thanos, so Enchantress had fewer targets. Captain Marvel, I'm quickly determining to be one of the best cards of the game right now. Captain Marvel and Darkhawk are both stellar, right? Like, look at these. Captain Marvel is doing better right now because it goes in those move lists, which are doing so well. Darkhawk, again, super high win rate. And considering its play rate, that it has such a high win rate is wildly impressive. Spider-Man, everyone thought he was dead when he was updated. He's an excellent card. If not a meta card, a damn near meta card. Also, apparently some people play Darkhawk without Rock Slide or Korg, and like won, right? Like one person clearly did that. Legion is meta. We've been telling you that. Some people are saying Legion's overrated. The Black Bolt versions did better yesterday. One day later, Legion remains insane. Please don't sleep on Legion. The card is not a meme. It is excellent. Location variance is a thing. Having a way to auto win with certain locations popping up is amazing. Also, it's why I straight up refuse to play Magic. I will not play a deck with Magic in it. We have nothing super impressive. Craven's numbers have been higher lately. They're back down. But Angela is back up. Thanks, Lamby, for that little Angela boost. Kitty is not an impressive number, though, despite Angela being super high. Kitty is significantly lower. Miles Morales remains good. We're seeing a lot of cards in that move deck pop up with really high numbers. Is there anything else with more than 10 times seen that has really impressive numbers? Mirage, pretty good, 56%. Lockjaw, pretty good, 55%. That's a Thanos build. We knew that. There's nothing in the 60s. There's usually at least a few like 60s. Absorbing Man, 57%. Whoa. That seems worth knowing. It's 9 people playing it, right? But Silk had a 72.73% win rate. We already talked about how to get her in a spotlight cache, but like the 2 highest performing cards in the tournament in any sort of relevant sample that we care about are Silk and Legion, although Spider-Man is damn close to that Legion. And Captain Marvel is damn close to that Spider-Man. So, like, we know what our meta is, right? These cards performed at least today, and thus are worth further testing in further different shells. Let's take a look at the top 8. But first, I want to actually, I'm going to control F right in front of you. We're going to look up OKKJ. OKJK? OKJK. Excuse me. Thanos move. What we had here seemed to be an O2 drop. So apparently did not hit the early matchups, lost early, and then just immediately dropped. So that will clearly, when the best player with the deck, the founder of the deck, flames out early and then drops from the tournament, that's going to mess up the stats, right? Everyone else was playing it for the first time. Okay. So we know what the top 8 is, right? Number 1 was Meal. Let's go with Meal. I don't know how to pronounce that exactly. Playing undefeated in Swiss a move deck. There's a reason I want to talk about this one, though, and it's right here. It's Jean Grey. Jean Grey has been called bad 50 times. Well, this version decided that this person decided that Jean should go in and had amazing success with it. The card I'm really surprised at being here is Armor. Armor does not appear to fit when you're running Shang-Chi and have nothing that really is regularly above 10. But Armor is here, and the deck was successful. It lost once in the tournament in the cup. We have Jammernaut in second with the Dark All Good stuff. There's nothing fancy about that. It's running Luke Cage, which is honestly just decent for location variants. Everything else is fairly stock for the current versions of the Dark All Good stuff build. We already spoke about the Human Spiders list. Hellenitis is constantly at the top of these tournaments. This is yet another Dark All Good stuff, this time using Mirage in one of the swing positions and Rogue instead of Enchantress. This all makes sense to me. The Sarah top end. If you can avoid getting Sarah's Spider Hand, Sarah is a really great mirror breaker. It tends to win the mirror. It operates almost as a second Zabu at the end of the game, or when you see both, you've got like classic Zabu power. It ends up working really. Lamby says 6 wins, 2 draws, and no losses. Lamby actually ran out of time in 2 games that would have been wins, so the deck was undefeated. They would have been wins either way. We talked about the deck. Gepard, another regular top tournament performer, is playing Sauron, and this is a very cool deck. It's running Sauron and Angela, Jeff, right? Then it's running Maw, Scarlet Witch, Mysterio. What? Sauron, uh, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Typhoid Mary, and Vision and Red Skull. You'll note that there is no Shuri in that list. It's just playing tempo power. It is a ton of tempo power. It gets on the board and says it's really hard to beat. Deck did phenomenally well. Next up, we have a Thanos Lockjaw. This is mildly different. It's not running Spider Ham and it's not running Death. Instead, it's adding Arrow and just Arrow. We're missing another card. I don't remember what the other card is. Spider-Man, Shang, Devil Dinos in both. Arrow is different. Vision is and America for consistency. I think America is less good here, but it gives you a greater chance of seeing Lockjaw, right? So maybe it's better. It's also another high roll with Lockjaw, so it's not bad. Arrow, I'm not sure I get, except that it was in the older versions of the list. That seems to be where that was taken. And then we have one last Dark Hawk good stuff. This is the Spider Ham Rogue version that people like Browde have been talking about for a while. People like Torican have been talking for a while. Then we have people that miss the cut on strength of schedule. I always want to pay attention to them. And we have to look at Butt's deck. I'm aware I didn't name the person. This is a move deck that's running. Yeah, you see it. It's Snowguard in that 1-drop slot. No Angela, no Kitty. This missed the cut on pure strength of schedule. But Snowguard can be really good in this deck. It's running a similar list to the Lamby, except it's running Iron Lad, and it's not running America, and it adds, it's got a nice little X Storm, so you can move stuff into a Storm lane. But Snowguard is great if there's a location you need to get into. Snowguard will do that job for you if there's a location that doubling helps you out in. Guard will do that job. Decent little card. Excuse me. Late at night, I casted yesterday's tournament for 6 hours, and I've done like 6 videos today, so it's been a day, and I watched like a ton of tournament play. Excuse me, sorry about that. All right, so Butt's deck is now officially the most successful Snowguard deck ever. Hey, how else is Move doing? Okay, well, this is a Dr. Octopus list. It looks like this is a version of the paper list. Station with Ghost Spider, Spider Ham Zabu, Jeff Killmonger, Shadow King, Spider-Man, Chong Enchantress, Legion, and Dr. Octopus. That's a very cool deck. I actually built a version of this, not running Shadow King, but instead trying to run Shuri Dr. Octopus shenanigans, and one of our viewers hit infinite with it. This deck is just good. It's a really cool combo. Next, we have another Sauron list. Sunspot, Zero, Maw, Armor, Lizard, Sauron. This one has Shuri. So Shuri almost made the cut today, and it did make the cut yesterday. Worth knowing that Sauron can work with or without Shuri. We have a Wong that almost made the cut. That is Iceman, Mirage, Zabu, Ironheart, Gambit, Jubilee, Wong, Absorbing Man, White Tiger, Black Panther, and Odin. That is genuinely just a straight up surprise. It honestly doesn't seem that strong, but it apparently performed really well. We will be testing that, and if it proves great, we'll get back to you. Grandis is playing a Dino Hawk. We all know the build Dino Hawk build. There is no fancy tech in it. It's the Nick Fury version. Looks very similar to our friend Fozzer's Fozzer Power. We've got Aram Johnson, Twitch Aram, a phenomenal player, former tournament winner, one of the better players in the world, running a, you guessed it, move list. This one with Echo in the one drop spot and Crossbones. Since you're so often ahead in the move deck, I actually really like that Crossbones. Top end Magneto. Magneto is great into Dark Hawk good stuff. That deck is very, very cool. And again, like in the description to this video, this document will be here. If you're looking for an under the radar deck, Aram Johnson's deck, Twitch Aram's deck, is going to be one to take a look at. The most successful surfer was J-Cut Surfer. Is there any spice? It's got Mirage, Spider-Ham Brood, Magic Surfer, Killmonger, Dakin, Spider-Man, and Absorbing Man. So not especially different. That one looks in general closest to the paper version. We went over 5 or 6 Surfer decks in one video last week. That's closest to the paper version of Surfer. Glad to see that one doing so well. The Globalist is playing the Thanos move list. This is the successful Thanos move. This is the exact same list that won yesterday's tournament, and it was apparently one game from making the cut in today's tournament. Tididi, Dark Hawk good stuff, no real spice. This build is becoming standardized with Sarah and Rue. Wasile played Junk. Very impressive to see Junk this high up. We very rarely share Junk videos on this channel. I'm trying to do better with Junk and Toxic decks. They're not really my style, like Cerebro, but they're powerful and they need to be focused on when they are good. And this is a cool version, seemingly using the Titania Green Goblin combo to lock things up. It's also got the Storm and Juggernaut combo to win a lane early. Storm and Spider-Man works the same way. Maximus Sentry, Ronin, and Legion. Oh, very cool to see a Ronin deck this high up. That's going to be one that I'm going to test out. And again, if there's something there that I think is that most players can replicate, I will get back to you about. And finally, we have William Russo, Billy Russ, with a nice standard Kitty Bounce. This is a Darkhawk version of Kitty Bounce, running Korg to try and get multiple Korgs and make a nice big Darkhawk. Very cool. Very, very cool. This is the one, by the way. I said there was a kitty that wasn't running Rock Slide. We found it. This is Darkhawk that wasn't running Rock Slide that had some success. We just found it. So those are all the decks that were really, really close to the cut. Except that this is strange. It's a 5, 2, and 1 deck. That means someone won 5 games and drew 2, while with only 1 loss. That is a Thanos Destroy, Yondu, Nova, Yondu, Bucky, Carnage, Wolverine, Killmonger, Venom, Deathlock, Shang, Null, Thanos, and Death. We've talked about that deck on the channel 15 different times. And Wilson, while we're here, is just the top-rated Standard Destroy. Standard Destroy always has trouble in these tournaments. Lots of people bring it. That's a Phoenix Force deck, so that's cool. That's running Sarah, Phoenix Force, and Nimrod as a top end, with Shuri, Deathlock, Venom, Multiple Men, Jeff, Wolverine, and Carnage and Echo. That's a cool list. Props to Wilson for that cool list. But for whatever reason, in these tournaments, Destroy is like never at the top of the meta unless it's in Thanos or in something else. It's just got too many easy counters, I think, to really stay at the top. Like a move deck that just pulls your stuff away from your Shuri or you're eating it is going to wreck the face off Destroy, right? Welcome to the move meta. The meta right now is Darkhawk good stuff, Thanos, seemingly largely Thanos Lockjaw, but with a side of Thanos move, and standard move. These brand new move decks. And while Lamby won with his, I want to give credit to Owl God, who originated the ideas found in this deck and won 2 tournaments with it when everyone thought it was just a meme, playing Silk and Craven and Captain Marvel and all these cards together before Captain Marvel was even brought down to 4 or 5. So props to Owl God for fundamentally finally getting moved to the top tier archetype. And huge congrats to all the competitors for how they did, especially, the Human Spider, second place 2 times in a weekend is super impressive, and the at this point should be undisputed best player in the game, LambySeries. Thanks for watching. If you got this far, please do me that favor, hit that sub, hit that like, hit that notification. We will give you great content every day, and we have a second video with an amazingly cool Thanos deck you've never seen before coming later today. Peace.